TNT Radio.
Found amidst the haunting landscape of Iceland, HELFRÓ is a formidable force in the world of blackened death metal. With their relentless aggression, atmospheric soundscapes, and compelling songwriting, they have carved their own path in the metal scene. After their self-titled debut album, the band released a new project, Talgrove, which was released the last 1st of December via Season of Mist. We speak with Ragnar Sverrisson to know more about the band. Firstly, tell me about how you started this project and why you choose HELFRÓ as name of the band, its meaning, etc.
I started to write some riffs maybe 7 years ago, back in 2015. I had always been in active bands. I have another band called Ophidian Eye, but everything was a little bit on pause. So yeah, I started to write the music just for myself, and after a while I realized I can make it into a whole album and make a band out of it. HELFRÓ is it's actually a name for something that happens to sick people before they die. So you can be very sick, but a few moments before you die, you will have more energy and happiness and maybe acceptance before you pass over. And actually, my grandfather described this when he was passing away many years ago. He was very ill, and then when he got a surge of energy and he looked much better, his doctor asked him, "Oh, you seem to be doing much better." And my grandfather said, "I think it's just HELFRÓ." And he was right, because he passed away soon after. But it can be metaphorical, but it's some sort of peace with death.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. I didn't expect it that answer or that meaning. Yeah, it's really interesting, because I think in Spanish we don't have a word for that. We don't have that concept.
No, there are many nice old words in Icelandic like that, and I still learn new words every now and then. It's important for me to speak with older people, because there's a lot of vocabulary that is getting slowly lost, because the new generation does not know these very beautiful old Icelandic words.
Yeah. It's so beautiful work of compilation. Yeah. You said your inspiration comes from the bleakness of Icelandic winters, the mysticism of nature, and the chaos of the human experience. Tell me more, mostly about the last one, the chaos of human experience.
For this new album, Talgrove, I think we didn't explain very well in the press release what it was about, because it's a little bit of a delicate subject. All of the lyrics are based upon writings and journals from actual criminals, like mass murderers who have committed crime. And I always thought that it's very interesting, the duality of man, how you can have very heroic, very good people doing sacrificial acts, but on the other spectrum, people can be very self-serving and narcissistic and do self-serving acts. And I mean, I think this is maybe a little bit what the new album talks about, and this is what I mean by, you know, chaos of the human experience. I think all of us have a little bit of a duality in our own soul. We have a little bit of good and a little bit of evil, and I think it's very interesting to explore how some people lean almost completely to one side, and others seem to be very pure in thought and in their hearts. So yeah, so each of the lyrics on the new album is talking about a personality trait that might be in common with people who go down the dark path of violence and murder.
Mm-hmm. This is about the inspiration and maybe the lyrics, but speaking about the music, it could be defined as blackened death metal, but when you listen to it, maybe we could consider it as black metal, but death as well. So I think it's a very exciting mixture of black and death metal. But do you agree? What's your opinion on that topic?
Yeah, I totally agree. I always enjoyed fast music, but it also has to have a sense of majestic, you know, grandiosity, and I never cared if it came from death metal or black metal, so I listened to a lot of both actually. I have listened to a lot of extreme death metal bands, but also the haunting melodies of black metal, and I guess I can only be like a product of the influences that shape me, and since I listen so much to both death metal and black metal, the music of HELFRÓ seems to have elements of both, and I don't mind if what people call it. I'm sure the elitists will say that it's not black metal, and I don't mind. All it matters to me is to have some feeling, and I think one way of showcasing deep emotional feeling is also through technicality and speed. I never understood people who say you don't have feeling in fast music, because I disagree. You can definitely hear if someone has been practicing for thousands of hours to perfect the music and be able to deliver it in a certain way. And I enjoy other bands that make music like that. So yeah, black and death metal, that's fine, or extreme metal, or whatever people want to call it. But in the end, it's just about delivering this feeling of power, this delicate beauty, and also maybe a little bit of darkness, hopefully.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It was just maybe to analyze the music to play. Your last album, Targrowth, has a very clear main feature, in my opinion, which is ferocity, isn't it? Was it your intention?
I think I always have some intention of playing with ferocity. I've spent a lot of time, you know, listening to fast bands and practicing how to play, you know, blast beats very fast. So even if I start off writing a song with some inspiration, usually somewhere in the middle, I feel compelled to have some, powerful blast beats and fast, evil-sounding riffs, I guess. So, but actually, to be honest, the first album, the debut album, which was just called HELFRÓ, has an even faster song on it. So you could say from one point of view that it's a slower, it's more of a power ballad album, the new one, Targrowth.
So we could define it as a more balanced album than the first one.
I'm sure that it's more dynamic. Yeah, we definitely have songs in between there that slow down and take more time to do a crescenting build-up. But it's still a very straightforward album. I have a severe attention deficit disorder, and I cannot listen to 15-minute long songs. So I also want to just write short songs that are to the point and deliver the message instantly. So I think it's a straightforward album.
Yeah. That was something that I observed as well. The album in total is like half an hour, something more, 35 minutes, with songs around 5 minutes or less, but it's very balanced. Yeah, so it is, I think, more easily to be listened to, more enjoyable, in my opinion. But that's for me. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope people are able to put it on repeat, because if it's a 1 hour long album and very heavy, then maybe you don't want to listen to it right away. So hopefully with the new album, people are willing to listen again and again. Because I think also they will hear something new every time. There's a lot of layers and a lot of hidden treasures if you listen to the same melody again. So there's more to be found every time you listen.
Yeah, I'm sure. As we were speaking about the lyrics before, in relation to that topic, they are introspective and based on thought provoking. What are these themes that are considered provoking in your music?
For example, we are dealing with the human habit of lying, narcissism, and also beauty and acceptance of death, like the name of the band also kind of alludes to. So it's hard to maybe put a finger on it more than that. And as I said, with the new album, it's mostly, each song deals maybe with an idea or a personality trait of someone who is preparing to commit murder. So it's very dark, and maybe if people read the lyrics, and of course they are in Icelandic, so people will have to translate them, but I'm interested actually to see how people will interpret them, and if they will actually attribute them to a certain case or a certain person, see if they can crack open the mystery.
Okay, and another aspect very important for me in an album is the cover. So I would like you to explain to us the meaning of the cover of Talgrove.
Yes, there is actually, when I was creating the lyrics, and one of the cases that I was reading about and researching has a person who actually went quite far to try to fix themselves, because they were dealing with these compulsive thoughts of violence, and they wanted to get rid of this yearning for evil doing, I guess. And so the cover is maybe a little bit inspired by that. It's about an entity or a sick being that is roaming around in a structure or castles forever, looking for a solution to something. And then when I pitched this idea to Green Design, Robert, who made the artwork, he morphed the idea. So the structure and the person became one thing. So the person is the structure, and this is purely his own artistic interpretation, but I think it looks really great, and there's a lot of details in the artwork that I'm still seeing today. So yeah, I'm super happy. Also just very fortunate that he was willing to do the artwork. He was a fan of the first album, and he is an incredible artist himself, so I thought being able to collaborate with him was just an absolute treat. Does a lot to elevate the album, I think.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. The artwork is very detailed, and it's really Talgrove. It's really the album, what the album contains. Yeah. Another aspect I wanted to comment with you was the language, because you use your mother language, Icelandic, instead of English or a very more commercial language. So why is that?
Simply because it's my native tongue, and that means I can express myself easily and more focused than if I was trying to do it in English. English is just my second language, and there are so many beautiful old English words that I simply don't have the vocabulary to use them properly. And I thought, since I have a good grasp on Icelandic, I'll do at least these 2 albums in Icelandic, and then I can use it as a tool to express what I want with maybe fewer but more complicated words. And also Icelandic is it has a quite brutal enunciation, and I think you can set up the lyrics rhythmically to fit the songs pretty easily. And we have this hard pronunciations of R and S and T, and I thought, yeah, that fits metal. So why not just make it in Icelandic? Maybe in the next one we'll switch to English, but I haven't fully decided. So we'll see.
Yeah, for me it's pretty interesting because it's more authentic, or it's more the essence of the person who is writing and singing. Yeah, so for me it's pretty nice. It's just the difficulty to to sing.
Yeah, that's true, and it's gonna be hard also because people want to know what the lyrics are about, and Icelandic is a very complicated language, so they will copy and paste the lyrics into Google Translate, but they will only get mumbo jumbo from it. Even Google doesn't usually understand most of the lyrics, so hopefully that can add a little bit of mystery to the album. People will have to make a little bit of an effort if they really want to read the lyrics or know what they're about. And at least when I was younger and when I was diving into bands, I liked being able to, or being forced to maybe, find a dictionary and figure out what some word meant and what the lyrics were actually about. And it's part of the fun for me, so I hope that fans of HELFRÓ will also enjoy that with the new album.
Yeah,
and we released the lyrics in the booklet of the album, so people can actually read them. For the debut album, we didn't do that, so for this one, you will be able to actually see them and translate them.
Okay, excellent then. Speaking about the album itself, we are going to speak about Song of the Songs. After a merciless beginning, which is the one hard take, excuse me my pronunciation of Icelandic, I'm trying. After that first song, which is brutal, Flat Freddy is a very, very black metal atmospheric song with a video as well. Why was this song chosen for a video, which is, by the way, based on your amazing landscape there in Iceland?
So I think it's just because the first riff of that song is very catchy, and either you can hear pretty quickly what the whole album is going to be about. I wrote the album. I wrote the first riff in a little bit of a different way. It was more legato and just a strum riff. But Simon, who is my guitarist, he arranged it so it sounds very Morbid Angel-like. And I thought, okay, so people will hear something they're a little bit familiar with maybe, and hopefully it'll get them hooked. So I thought, yeah, it's just you're very quick to understand the song and get into it if you're going to like HELFRÓ at all. So that's why we chose it as the first single. And yes, then we shot the video. Actually, it's just in a location maybe 45 minutes outside of the capital of Reykjavik. And I got Guilherme from Season of Mist to come over to Iceland to shoot the video, and then I got a really great actress to star in it. Her name is Berta Andrea, and funnily enough, like just a few days after we finished shooting, we had a volcano that started almost in the same location where we were shooting the video, just a few kilometers away.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it's very hard to be a band from Iceland and you're going to do a video and you're not going to use the Icelandic landscape. And I actually would maybe not always love to use Iceland and the nature as a promotional tool, but it's still very hard not to do it, because we're so lucky to be able to go just a little bit outside of our city and have amazing shooting locations. And yeah, I think it's something nice for the eye, and hopefully it fits the song. But perhaps in the future, I don't think all of our videos are always going to be Icelandic nature. We'll go inside somewhere.
Inside somewhere. Okay, but yeah, you are lucky with your landscape, but it's what you have. So I think it's a landscape very close to your music as well. So it fits well. Yeah. Speaking about another song, Good Led Retality, the fifth song, I think when I listened to it, I thought it's darker and maybe more introspective, isn't it?
Yes, it's a simple song actually. It's so song number 5, Guðlegt réttlæti. It means divine justice or godly justice. So as if God is passing judgment upon you. And it actually, yeah, like I said, it's simpler, but it also has more room to breathe because the opening riff and the ending riff are the same, and then in the middle it slows down to a drawn out low and very heavy, almost like a doom-like riff, and then slowly picks up the pace and crescends again in the opening riff. And the lyrics are about an entity or some sort of being that is climbing to the throne of God, and then he takes the power and judges all of us, and of course he will judge us with no mercy as the rest, because it's like maybe perhaps written from a narcissistic point of view. Like I was talking about, the lyrics to the album are about sick, violent people, and they often have these illusions of grandeur. They think they are great, or they think they are God. So this is what the song is about. It's a fantasy. Someone is fantasizing about passing judgment upon the humanity.
About being God.
Exactly, or playing God at least, or imagining God.
That's very complicated concept. I think there are at least 2 different voices in some of the songs. Is that true? Because you got a darker or more guttural voice and a different one, isn't it?
Yes, that's true. So we are 2 who made this album. I wrote all the music, but then I have my partner Simon, who plays guitar and bass, and he also will arrange some of the songs, because I'm not a guitarist, but I still try to write it. And he does, I think, half of the vocals on the album. It was maybe 70% me on the first album and 30% him, but in this album it was kind of like 50-50, and he has a really, really nice deep guttural growl. For example, on the first single, song number 2, Flárafræði, he does almost all of the vocals. I do maybe a little part there at the end, but I also do some low growls. For example, in song number 4, it's I do the whole song, but I particularly enjoy parts where we are both going at the same time, and it creates a little bit of like a demonic voice, But he's just simply way better at growling than I am, so I asked him to do more work on this album.
And this is more, it's richer. I think it enriches the music as well. So it's as you said before, there are several layers in the music, and I think the vocals is one of them. After several fierce and brutal songs, we reached the end with Minimum Mordigia, a song with more instrumental arrangements, I think. Why was that?
That's a good question. So the name is, it actually translates to Morðingja, means eulogy for a murderer or memory of a murderer. So this is at the end when all the violence has been already performed and the person has passed away from perhaps suicide or something. So it was supposed to be a very somber and sad song, talking about how pointless and futile it all ended up being, and nobody really remembers you. You thought you were God and you thought you were so grand, but after all is said and done, your memory fades quickly away. So I guess it's probably the most black metal-y song of the album, because it's just like a long tremolo riff there at the beginning. And I just wanted to convey a feeling of emptiness and sadness, and hopefully leave the listener feeling a little bit like drained after listening to it, because it's supposed to talk about futility and hopelessness, I guess. And I read there was a murderer here in Iceland actually who passed away maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I read his eulogy, so what his friends and family were writing about him after he passed away, and it was also empty and hollow. There's so little to be said about someone who lives his life in a way that almost always brings negativity and destruction to everyone around him. So I thought that was very interesting to see, because it's very different from when a normal good person passes away. So yeah, this is what the song is about.
So it's a very good end for the concept of the album we were talking about. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. Speaking in general about your music, I think it is a unique brand of Icelandic metal, but I wanted to know, what about the extreme metal scene in Iceland?
Yes, there is a thriving extreme metal scene. For in the late 2000s or from maybe 2010 onwards, there was almost exclusively black metal being played, and we have a lot of black metal bands. But in the last few years, 2 or 3 years, there's a new generation, the younger kids who are maybe 16, teenagers and early 20s, and they are finally getting into metal. And I thought there was no hope. I thought they were all going to listen to hip hop, But they have a much more varied taste. So they are into hardcore and metalcore and death metal as well. So there is I think, a thriving scene and really strong grassroots. However, I think Icelanders are the Icelandic scene is often very focused on atmosphere and theatrics, and I dare to say that HELFRÓ is one of the ones that focus maybe much more on musicality, intricate songwriting, and then it's up to the fan or to the listener to find something to their own taste. But I'm quite sure that if you are a metalhead and you can't find any Icelandic band that you like, then that is going to be very strange, because there's a lot of diversity and many different bands and different approach to the music.
That's really, really, really cool, because we have no hope here as well with young people and metal. Yeah.
Yeah, it was looking quite bad. I think the new generation, Gen Z as they're called, they are very invested in exploring like the 80s and the 90s, both in like fashion aesthetics, and the music that comes with that must of course be, grunge rock and Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana and Metallica, which is of course like a great entrance into heavy metal, and then, death metal, hopefully, if they go all the way. So I've been seeing kids here in the street, wearing Iron Maiden t-shirts, and I haven't seen that for many, many years. So I think it's finally metal is back on the menu.
Yeah, a new generation coming, hopefully. Yeah. What about tours or shows? Do you think about that?
I do. I can't share it yet, the details, but HELFRÓ, we were actually booking our very first show ever this week. It's going to be announced at the beginning of the new year, but we've always just been a studio band. But next year we are actually going to bring this music live for the first time, so we are super excited. It's a new chapter for the band. A lot of work, because we want to deliver the material in the same way as we deliver it on the album, with the same transcendent feeling, hopefully, of power and grandiosity. So very exciting. Stay tuned.
Yeah. I want the information as well, but I think it's going to be a hard work, because you need more musicians as well.
That's true. Yeah, we cannot do it just the two of us. So I have already assembled some more musicians to create the live version of the band, and we'll also announce them in the new year. So it's all a little bit of a secret. I wish I could tell you exactly, but I'm going to have to let the announcement come from the promotional side. But I have some really good musicians on board. It's going to be no problem.
Excellent. We will pay attention to it. And finally, I would like you to choose a song from the album, from Talgrove, to be listened after the interview. Briefly tell me why that song.
I think I would go with song number 6. It's called Sindur.
Sindur.
And I think I would pick that one. It's a little bit, it's perhaps a little bit different than the rest of the songs of the album. But it starts immediately with a little bit of symphonic elements in there. You can hear some orchestral backgrounds. And the lyrical themes are about actually a moment of perfect beauty and stillness. I read about this in the journal of someone who was actually planning to commit murder and suicide, but as soon as he had made the decision, he felt that all the colors in the world were more vibrant, all the food tasted better, and it was just a beautiful moment. And I thought, that must be very strange to know that you're about to do something very dark and destructive, and it's a little bit like life is trying to convince you not to do that, you know, and you all of a sudden realize that things are not as bleak and dark as you thought they were. So an interesting theme, and yeah, it's a song that was not released as a single, so maybe a good one for people to check out. You know.
Yeah, that's true. So Ragnar, thank you very much for your time. Good luck promoting the album, and good luck with the new experience live. And thank you very much for your time.
Victoria, thank you very much. Were great questions, really nice talking to you, and thanks to everyone who listens and gives time to check out HELFRÓ. Thank you.
So now we are going to listen to the song Sindur, chosen by Ragnar Sverrisson for the Icelandic band HELFRÓ.
TNT Radio, tu radio en internet.